Well, good afternoon and welcome to Abrams Village PEI. We are at the Evangeline Recreation Center in Western Prince Edward Island this afternoon here on the High Button Sports. We have some Maritime Major Female Under 18 hockey action for you here in this weekend before Christmas. The Cape Breton Lynx are in town. They are here to face the Western Wolves in today's matchup. A pair of teams only separated by 3 points in the Maritime Major Female Hockey League standings. The Lynx are ahead by that margin, 22 points in the standings, 24 games into the hockey season. These teams are playing a doubleheader here this weekend, so maybe if the Wolves, the host team here, can round up a pair of wins, pick up 3 or 4 points on the weekend, they can pull into a tie with the Lynx. But the Lynx are looking for redemption as well. After winning 4 straight league games, they have lost each of their last 4 matchups and are trying to steer the course. But the Wolves are on a roll of their own. They've won 3 straight of their games, including a win over their Prince Edward Island rivals, the Eastern Stars, 4-2 last weekend in Charlottetown on December 13th. As the teams wrap up warm-up, it's been quite a day for these clubs, especially for the Cape Breton Lynx, making the 6-hour bus ride from Member to Nova Scotia, as has been affecting all traveling hockey teams this weekend in several different leagues. We've been seeing high winds across the Maritimes. The Confederation Bridge leading to PEI was closed to high-sided vehicles for much of the last 24 hours, including some periods where the bridge was closed to all vehicles. And this affected the Cape Breton Lynx, who came to the bridge here early this morning only to find that their bus could not cross. So what did the hosts, the Western Wolves, do? Well, a bunch of them got in their vehicles this morning, made the drive down to Borden PEI, crossed the bridge, and came over and took over the Lynx players and staff in order to make this afternoon's game possible. The Lynx staff especially appreciative, telling me before the game, in order to make this possible in both games in this weekend back-to-back here. As for the Western Wolves staff, of course, lending some of that island hospitality, said one of them, it's our good karma for the day. So we'll see if that's indeed the case for results on the ice, but it's a good story of Islanders helping Islanders, Cape Breton Islanders, as well as the Prince Edward Islanders here today. The Western Wolves of Western PEI. As for action on the ice, these teams have already met twice this year. They had a weekend doubleheader in Port Hood, Nova Scotia, on the west coast of Cape Breton in November. And it's always a good game between these two teams. The Wolves won the first matchup on November 15th by a score of 4-2. That was a big game, especially for Peyton Crozier, the Wolves netminder, who stopped 45 of 47 shots in that hockey game. And the Lynx won the very next day 4-1 with Jade Vickers, the star defender for the Cape Breton Lynx, registering a hat trick in that matchup en route to the win. And it's always a close time and a competitive game between those teams. And although they have been helping each other all day so far today, already some feistiness here on the close side wing in front of your screen here, as we're about to get going here in Evangeline. To your left, the Cape Breton Lynx sporting the white uniforms, and over to your right are the host Western Wolves in the black and the blue. And making that first save here was Ellie Power, today's starter for the Cape Breton Lynx in the goal cage to your left. Ellie Power missed both games last weekend at home in Member 2, but she sports a 6-3 record, 6 wins being the most amongst her teammates, and a .290 goals against average. That's best for 11th in the league. And in net for the host Western Wolves is Peyton Crozier. Crozier is 4-9 on the season, but an unsung hero of sorts for the Wolves as the Lynx commit an icing infraction there. Crozier, although the win-loss totals don't quite equate to that, sports a .932 save percentage this season. That is fourth of all netminders in the Maritime Major Female U18 Hockey League here. And the face-off will come just to the right of Ellie Power in the Cape Breton Lynx net, and the Lynx will win the draw. It's another hard rim all the way around the boards. The icing is waved off by the back lines person there. And first on that puck with the head of steam is Masson McCachran. A heavy forecheck for the Cape Breton Lynx. A Wolves player swings it up around the boards over to the hash marks. And going laterally across the ice, Kayla Mills wearing number 4 for the Western Wolves. Now lean the rush down the other way, Jade Vickers. Vickers, ever the threat from the blue line for the Lynx. As mentioned, scored that hat trick the last time these teams met about a month ago on home ice. Trying to get a look at things there. Her D partner, Olivia Morell, is first to recover that puck behind her net, but it's quickly taken away by an aggressive forecheck by the Western Wolves. The Wolves 3 points behind this Lynx team in the standings right now as they get a couple looks in close, and a swing and a miss on that puck was Maya Stevenson, wearing number 19 for Western this afternoon. Right at center ice, taking that for a shot around is Maria McPherson. Her forward line will go for a change, come to the middle of the net. Here is a wrister in, which is gobbled up by Peyton Crozier in that Western Wolves net. The face-off will be to her left now as both teams get a change in now. Here comes the draw to Crozier's left. Face-off is won by the Wolves. There's a collision over there. Callie McNeil, number 17 for the Western Wolves, won that draw, but the puck remains frozen over in the left side corner. And Callie McNeil will take it out of the zone herself. She traverses the red and then the blue and goes for the dump-in. That's off the stick of the Cape Breton Lynx, Danny Ray McGinnis. And it's McGinnis retrieving the puck there. It rolled into the slot for a moment and tried to make the outlet pass, but wasn't quite successful there, and will give it away at center ice. Dumping that in is Kate Waugh, wearing number 7 today for the Western Wolves, an affiliate player up in the lineup today, as the Wolves are dealing with a couple of injuries here this afternoon heading into Christmas, as an arm comes up from one of the officials. It's going to be a head contact penalty, and it looks like the Cape Breton Lynx are going to go to the box for that one. Stepping into the penalty box is Julia Brown, and that will result in this afternoon's first power play. It will go to the host Western Wolves. The Wolves clicking at 11.8% this season in the power play. That's good for 6th in the league, in the 9-team league here. And they'll get control of the puck here, cutting right in. Good opportunity there for Miley Stevenson, wearing number 16. Playing below the goal line there. The puck will squirt loose over to the slot. But ready for that was the killer for the Cape Breton Lynx. That's Rylan Gabriel. Gabriel missed the second half of the back-to-back last weekend against the Lindsay Surge at home in member 2 for the Lynx, but is back in the lineup for the weekend road trip here. The outlet pass was intercepted by Olivia Morell as the Wolves tried to get out. That was a great read there from the Lynx blue liner. Minute 18 left in this first power play opportunity of the afternoon for the Wolves. Juggling the puck in the corner is Brooke McGuigan under some heavy pressure there by the killer Cassie Cremo, who is really pinning those two defenders down deep into their zone. And finally, getting it up far enough, Maya Stevenson for the Wolves will dump it into the corner. It's a 2-on-1 down low, and Stevenson will come out with the puck. Has lots of time and space to make a play, floating to the top of the slot. Here's a shot through traffic that's kicked away from a player. That originated from Brooke McGuigan, who will then go for the change. Now a 4-on-4 down in the O-zone for the Wolves, and that'll buy the Lynx just enough time to get that over their blue line and out, and that will allow the penalty killers to go for a change of their own. Just 4 minutes into the hockey game here, no scoring yet, as Avery McNeil takes it into the zone for the Cape Breton Lynx. 20 seconds remaining in this Wolves power play. Here's the lateral pass. Up for Maria McPherson, will gain the red line and get the dump in down in deep as Kinley Duncan retrieves on the opposite side of the ice. And stepping through a couple whacks at it, 1 and 2, as Callie McNeil steps onto the ice. And it's off McNeil in front of the net, and it was a good save. Good heads up by Ellie Power, the goaltender. Walking in down low, here's a shot from an angle. That came from Caden Thomas, who is denied by Power. Thomas, the leading scorer on this Western Wolves team this season. 14 points, including 8 goals in 27 games played this year. That's tied for 36 in the league in scoring. Very by-committee team, this Western Wolves team. Don't have any of the league's leading scorers, but very well balanced out on top, getting lots of contributions from a lot of players. As coming away on the shot block is Jayla Andrews. Andrews tried to get the shot off, and coming back with a good defensive play was the defender Maddie Richards, a veteran for this Western Wolves team, stopping any sort of a chance from materializing and doing it without taking a penalty or making an infraction of any sort. Stopping play at 15:18 of the first period here in Evangeline, and keeps it scoreless as we're back to 5-on-5 action. Just as Jayla Andrews was coming away with that scoring chance, she had another one there too. Turned aside by Crozier. Coming up along the board, some one-on-one battle with the winger and just barely keeping it in the zone, or maybe not, as Elise Angioni of the Cape Breton Lynx made an effort for it, but it just came across the blue line at the wrong time for the Lynx, and we'll get a face-off just outside that blue line in the neutral zone. Ava Landry taking that face-off for the Lynx as a couple of the wingers get tied up. Countering on the other side is Hallie Murray wearing number 12 for the home side. Ava Landry is the center here for Cape Breton. With 16 goals and 23 points in 22 games, she leads the team in scoring. That's the 18th best points total in the league. Right on top of that puck is Hallie Murray. Wolves getting that forecheck going good and early here with lots of speed in this Saturday afternoon matchup. These teams will meet again tomorrow morning. You can catch the action here on High Button Sports. They'll drop the puck at 10:30 a.m. on Sunday morning, allowing the Lynx lots of time to get back home for the holidays. Here comes the breakout, originating from Maya Stevenson. It'll drop back. It was Misha Pino throwing it down the ice. It's recovered by Landry, but the pass misses. Kinley Duncan will recover that for the Wolves. Here's a step. Here's Thomas off a set of shin pads. Good positioning there by Jade Vickers to keep that puck from getting to the net of her goalie, Ellie Power. Swing that puck, forcing turnover is Finley Blackier at center ice. Blackier heads for the change as her teammates step up. It's Callie McNeil in pursuit. A couple jabs in front. Duncan was right on top of the blue paint in the crease, but it'll squirt out for the Lynx. Going from right to left is Isabel Perush on the break-in. Drops it to her teammate McNeil, and kicking right in front of the net there too is Hillary Lawand. Lawand had the lone goal in the last game in that 4-1 loss to the Lindsay Surge on Sunday in Member 2. As Duncan looks to get that puck out for the Wolves. Not quite far enough, or maybe it was, as the officials agree with the Western Wolves on that offside there, and it will be a whistle. 13-12 left in this first period here in Evangeline. Still tied at 0-0 between these battles, in this battle of island teams, Cape Breton Island and Prince Edward Island here. Face-off won by Austin of the Lynx. And Gabriel fanned on the breakout pass. Gets it just enough to her teammate Danny Ray McGinnis. All the way back out to the other end under pressure is Kate Waugh, the defender. Waugh, good play up to her winger, and here's the 1-2 pass up to Stevenson, and coming away with it with the puck. That's Kayla Mills. Mills out front and fanning on the pass. Miley Stevenson drive into that net hard, but just skipped over her stick, and the Wolves will have to try again. Mills, the position there, and coming in on the pinch off the line was Brooke McGuigan. McGuigan will lose her stick in the effort. Come back out the other way is the Cape Breton Lynx. Lise Angioni at the end of a shift will dump it in, but her teammate Austin will chase it into the zone. The Wolves secure it, but only for a second. Landry was coming in. We have a bouncy puck there, so nobody could quite secure possession, but the Wolves will take it down to the other zone, right in front of the Lynx bench. All the way back to the blue line, but just barely keeping that in for a moment was Misha Pino and lost it to McCachran, but McCachran can't maintain possession for the Lynx, so the play comes all the way back out and behind the net of Peyton Crozier. Cape Breton not making it easy for the Wolves to break out, and it'll force them to shoot the puck errantly down the length of the ice, and it'll be an icing call against Western for a face-off back to the left of their goaltender. As mentioned, these teams separated by only 3 points in the standings. The Wolves are 9-17-1 on the year, good for 19 points. The Cape Breton Lynx have one more win, as well as an additional loss in an overtime shootout situation, so that gives them a 3-point buffer between the teams here this weekend. Playing the doubleheader here, though, there is a chance that the Wolves could leapfrog. Either that or the Lynx can even increase that barrier. It's a close game here so far. Each have 1-1 season series records against one another here, as there is a 2-on-2 rugby scrum in front of the Western Wolves bench. Western going back and forth in their own zone, but can't seem to get through. Holding that line is Morel for the Lynx. Gets it down to her winger, and walking out there is Landry. She has a little bit of space now, looking for Vickers at the blue line, but it is an alert stick by Maya Stevenson knocking that out of play. Lynx have to start again. Morel will take it into the Wolves zone. That's off a skate, and down in deep on the backhand, shoveling that toward the net was Cassie Cremo. Cremo line for the Lynx. Plays very physical, quickly, makes things happen all the time. As Morel is sidestepped there by a Wolf. Stepping around is Thomas, and Thomas has knocked off the puck there. Avery McNeil, and that came out across, and Ellie Power will block her that away. Mishandling that puck there on defense, Marie McPherson back in pursuit. Maddie Richards, her D partner, comes in support. It's a puck race right at the top of the slot, and knocking it down deep is the Lynx. Isabel Perush is the first player there for the visitors. Perush looking in front. There's Elise Angioni, and it just came off her stick. Maddie Richards, some good positioning there on D, and it is dumped in, just barely stays in. The Wolves players on the home bench there were bracing for impact, but it stays in play. Here's a shot from McGinnis from distance, and sliding across to her left to make the glove save was Peyton Crozier, who has been alert here early in this hockey game this afternoon as we just cross over the midway point of the opening frame here at the Evangeline Recreation Center. We're still tied at 0 between the Cape Breton Lynx and the Western Wolves. A draw is won by the Western Wolves. They can only get it out so far, though. It's held at the point by McGinnis of the Lynx. Thrown out in front. Nobody was home for Cape Breton. Kayla Mills, wearing number 4, has lots of time to bring it out. Joined there by Charlie Webster, her line mate. Webster was the one forcing that Lynx D into some trouble and stays on Angioni, who is back on the back check. Mills swings it around, but all of the Wolves players are on the opposite side of the ice, so that gives the Lynx a little bit of time and gets all the way to the line where Kate Waugh was waiting for it, but it skipped off her backhand there and it came out offside, and both teams will get a change in. One back by the Lynx. A Wolves winger was right there. It's McAdam out there with support from her teammate Murray. Comes back to Brooke McGuigan on the blue line, but turned over to the Lynx as they played hot potato in the neutral zone. Cutting through is Ava Landry. Landry on the back end of the forehand, and an alert blocker save by Peyton Crozier, as Landry has a noted ability of doing that, walking right around defenders all over this league this year, and almost made use of it there to open the scoring, but some good goaltending from Crozier to keep this game scoreless here early. As Aisling McAdam leads the breakout the other way. Right at center ice there was the collision. Taken down was Kinley Duncan running into a Lynx player, as Ava Landry will try coming in again. Dropped it to her teammate, but gave it away to the Wolves. Coming up, McNeil not looking. The captain for this Wolves team will dump it in. Callie McNeil. First on the puck there, and falling down in on a hard forecheck was Caden Thomas, wearing number 10. Out there with their line mate Caleb Mills. Jade Vickers behind the net for the Lynx, looking for a winger up the board. Nobody was home. Brought it in front for Mills. She had time. The rebound. It's a toe save. Ellie Power just gets the skate on that one to keep it out. D pass down in deep for Vickers. Can't get it out on that attempt, trying to shoot that beyond the blue line. Second attempt, no good either. It's held in the line by the Wolves, but Western was coming to the end of an exhausting shift there, so Jade Vickers will take it out. Throws it up for Hillary Lawand, who was going for a change and couldn't recover the puck going the other way, but both teams were pretty tired there. They're happy to see that puck go down the length of the ice for an icing call, and the face-off will come down to the left of Peyton Crozier in net in the Western Wolves end of the ice. Miley Stevenson taking the defensive zone draw for the Wolves. Will win it. Gets it to her teammate, defender Finley Blackier. Blackier going way up the ice there. Target was Maya Stevenson, but it is out of her reach as well as that of the Lynx defenders, and we'll try that face-off again as another icing has been charged to the Wolves. Draw now to the right of Crozier. And this time the face-off is won by the Lynx in the O-zone. Isabel Peruche was down there in pursuit of the puck, out there with Angioni. Cut to the net. Good opportunity there for Layla Austin, cut to the net, but was tied up on the stick as she attempted the shot on the backhand. Couldn't quite get it off. Angioni looking for her teammate down low, Peruche. Peruche as well out there with Austin. Angioni was the only forward down in the corner, though. Rylan Gabriel couldn't hold the line. Good defense by Maya Stevenson. She'll be in pursuit of that puck and forces an errant pass on the end of the Lynx, but it will not be enough for an icing as there was a trio of Wolves players back in their own zones there. And that is knocked up the ice there by Murray, the slapping dump in, and holds it. Almost took the puck away there from Morel. Olivia Morel is not an easy defender to strip the puck from, and inevitably she gained the puck back there and gets it to her D partner, Jade Vickers. Vickers will cut in, look out for that shot, and that, fortunately for the Wolves, hit a pair of shin pads, but it's kept in by the Lynx. Morel lets one go along the ice. It's right in the legs of Peyton Crozier, but she will throw the glove on it for a cover and a whistle before anything else happens. 6:15 on the clock here, remaining in this first period. Ava Landry and her forward line come onto the ice in the offensive zone for the Lynx and will win the draw over to Morel. D to D, here's Vickers, the shot, and that was a quick release there. Ready for that, though, was Crozier. Landry couldn't hold the line there. Down the other way, Maya Stevenson gets on her horse and is knocked off the puck by Vickers. A good back check there by the Lynx defender. D to D pass up for Morel. Morel, that's tipped off by McCracken, just about to the center ice stop, but slapped back into the zone for an icing call against the Wolves, as they came off a hard-fought defensive shift and will settle for the face-off there to the left of their goaltender, Crozier. The Avery McNeil line stepping onto the ice for Cape Breton. They will be countered by Hallie Murray, taking the draw for the Wolves, and Murray will win it for Western. Coming hot across the boards as Misha Pino will be stopped there by Lawand of the Lynx. Stevenson tries to one-hand that out of the zone, but was tied up by Lawand, and a battle ensues in front of the Wolves bench. It's a 2-on-2. Squirted loose there for about half a second, but came off the stick. Coming in, here's McNeil, lets the flipper go. Was perhaps looking for Jayla Andrews, her teammate. Come to the backside, and here's the rebound. The shot came from McGinnis on the Lynx point, but is padded aside again. Crozier was waiting for that one, and there's a collision. A player down on the ice and an arm in the air from the official as we get a whistle. It's going to be a cross-checking call, it appears, and it looks like Kinley Duncan of the Western Wolves was ready for that call. And for the first time this afternoon, we'll get a look at the Cape Breton Lynx 5-on-4 advantage here. They have a strong power play. They're 20.6% on the season. That's good for third best in the U18 Maritime Major Female Hockey League. And we'll see why here, as they have a couple of potent offensive weapons, including Jade Vickers, who now has the puck. Rather, that pass was intended for Vickers, was out there with Rylan Gabriel. Vickers is second on the team with 23 points in scoring. Rylan Gabriel has 22 points on the season. If the Lynx aren't the only team with two of their top three defenders, or two of their defenders amongst their top three in scoring, as it's covered up by Crozier. Between Gabriel and Landry, they get a lot of help from the blue line on this team. And we see why here as they go with the 3-forward, 2-defender attack here on this power play, which has been working very well for them here this season up in Cape Breton. It's tied up along the boards, comes back to Gabriel on the point. Second attempt to get that puck out. Maria McPherson deep in that puck battle. Looking for a call there after a cross-check. Was a Wolves player, but nothing came out of it as Ava Landry is first on the puck. Landry is knocked down, but first there is Gabriel. Down to Vickers, down by the hash marks on the far side. Up top to Gabriel, who stick handles the puck and finds a wide open Landry. The pass in front, the rebound, stepping on it. Vickers came in and missed the net just to the wide of the glove. And there's the shot from distance from Gabriel and digging for it. Right on top of that, Crozier was ready for that all the way in as a duo of Lynx players came in to try and slam that one home, but couldn't quite get there with 48 seconds remaining on this Cape Breton power play, and that was the closest chance they got here early in this hockey game this afternoon. Avery McNeil hops onto the ice, take this draw for Cape Breton, and will win it. McLean goes D to D, comes back to McLean, winding up for the slapper, but that is off a Wolves stick and over the stick of Mary Margaret McLean for the Cape Breton Lynx and out. The Lynx are quick to get it back into the zone though, but they don't hang on to it for very long. As Misha Pino attempts the breakout. Mary Margaret McLean will get it back, going to Layla Austin, her teammate, on the blue line there. 15 seconds left in this Lynx power play. Up for Elise Angioni. Angioni hits her intended target at center ice, and into the zone is Hillary Lawan coming along the close side boards. The drop past Angioni. It's up in the air, knocked down by a stick or a glove. No errant call on that as it is knocked out of the zone by Stevenson of the Wolves, and we're back to 5-on-5 here. Jumping onto the ice with a head of steam. Here comes Rylan Gabriel. Going from right to left over to Landry, but she's stripped of the puck. Good alert stick there by Aislinn McAdam. But she'll come to the end of a tiring shift as the Wolves try to shift the momentum into the other zone here with only 3 minutes left in this opening period. And stepping in, here comes Thomas. Thomas forces that toward the net. That's off a stick and wide. First player there, Olivia Morell for the Lynx, gets it up to McCachran, her winger, and up to the red line at center ice. Dumped in by Cassie Cremo. Right on top of it was Landry, but she missed it as well as she was tied up there by the defender for the Wolves, McGuigan. Sticked on up and taken away. Steps in. Cremo with the shot. Almost came there to the stick of McCachran. McCachran curls out of the corner and hits Vickers at the blue line. She scores! The shot from Jade Vickers sails through, and Crozier couldn't find it through the traffic, and that will be enough to open the scoring this afternoon for the Cape Breton Lynx. And we saw it last time these two teams met. Jade Vickers on November 16th registered a hat trick against the Western Wolves. One of the goal leaders on this team. That'll be her 11th of the season, number 10 in the Lynx uniform. And she has her 4th of the year against the Western Wolves, as it appears she'll get credit for that one. There was no further deflections or the like from any of her Lynx teammates. And Vickers will remain out on the ice there and go for another skate down up along the far side of the boards. Going up against the trio of Wolves and carries it all the way down in behind the Wolves net. And stripped there off the puck for a second. Angioni putting up a fight as the puck rolled over into the glove of Crozier, who will force a whistle. A minute 36 left in this first period. Just moments ago, Jade Vickers off the point shot beats the crowd and beats the screen, as well as the goaltender Crozier, to open the scoring for the visitors here this afternoon. It's 1-0 for Cape Breton. Puck takes a skip and a jump over to Finley Blackier on defense. Taken away for a second by the Lynx and ends up back on the Cape Breton stick, but is blocked by Blackier in front, who will go hard and high off the glass, but it hit a Cape Breton defender on the way out, so icing is waved off. Back hard on the back check was McGinnis, but is taken away by the Wolves. First on the puck was Maya Stevenson, but it's turned over once again to the Lynx. The pass missed as we come into the final minute of play here in the first period. It's Kate Waugh taking a collision into the boards there. Needs a little help from her teammate Murray. And it's turned over to the Lynx, walking right in. That was a good opportunity for Hillary Lawant. But ready for that all the way on that, tight on that post, was Crozier making the save. 48.2 seconds on the scoreboard. Before we take a break here between periods, face-off comes to the left of Crozier. It's won by the Lynx. Morell at the line, looking for that return pass, but the Lynx forward got tied up there really close along the boards here on the close side of your screen. So it's a 3-on-2 mini battle here for the Wolves, and Western will come away with it. Here's a last chance attempt here for McNeil. The Wolves captain only gets as far as the opposing blue line before the turnover. Stepping right in was Brown, trying to take that puck back for the Lynx, but it'll get it back to her defender as Vickers will go for a skate. Jade Vickers getting lots of ice time early in this game. Will walk around the shot looking for a second goal of the first period here, but it's a good alert blocker save by Crozier. Back to the line for Morell. That shot is blocked, and sore there after that one was Caden Thomas, who made a good block there with only seconds left on the clock to keep that Olivia Morell shot from getting to the net. However, the Lynx did find the back of the net once that period. Jade Vickers with the point shot, a heavy wrister from the line that beat Crozier. And that's the only scoring we have there in the first period here in Evangeline in the first of this doubleheader weekend in Western PEI. The Cape Breton Lynx take a 1-0 lead into the dressing room here. Stick around here on the High Button Sports for second period action here in about 10 minutes. And welcome back to Abrams Village PEI for the second period in this Saturday afternoon matchup between the Cape Breton Lynx and the Western Wolves here in Maritime Major U18 Female Hockey League action. Only one goal in the opening frame of this matchup coming off the stick of Jade Vickers, that Cape Breton Lynx defender, taking the team lead in scoring in points anyway. Her 24th point of the year, 11th goal of the season, beating a screened Peyton Crozier for the first and only goal of the hockey game here so far. Lots of hockey to play between these two teams here this weekend. Of course, this evening's game and tomorrow's matinee matchup at 10:15 in the morning on the Sunday morning here in Evangeline. So lots of action here yet, but for both these teams, it will be the last games of 2025. We won't see them again until January 2nd. They'll each be playing in Fredericton against different teams on that day. The Lynx will face the Northern Subway Selects on January 2nd. And the same day, the Wolves will play against the Moncton Rockets. Those two teams, the Moncton Rockets and the Subway Selects, are part of that three-headed monster on the top of this league standings, along with the Lindsay Surge of Halifax. Right now, at the top of the standings, the Moncton Rockets lead the way with 43 points, including 21 wins. The Lindsay Surge and the Northern Subway Selects also have 21 wins in the season, but are each a point behind at 42 points apiece, as they have one game less played and one less loss in overtime. But that is a very stacked 1-2-3 at the top of the standings here in Maritime Major Female Under-18 Hockey League action. As the shot comes from distance there, that came off the stick of Brooke McGuigan as the puck came out and loose. Trying to play that puck was Ellie Power, but there was some good pressure there by the Wolves to not make it easy, as it's thrown right in front coming off the bench. Cassie Cremo was charging for that puck out there on a line with Madison McCachran for the Lynx, as the puck is shot back down the other way, and it'll be an icing charged against the Western Wolves early on the fresh sheet of ice here in the second period. A fairly evenly fought game so far. The Wolves controlled most of the first half of that first period. After a Lynx power play opportunity in the latter half of the frame, though, they've seemed to have more of the shot opportunities anyway, including that goal from Jade Vickers, as there's a sticky puck going on there in that far side face-off circle, as it's really struggling to get that out was the Wolves defender. Trying to steady up that puck there, and the hard shot down the ice. It's a foot race. Jade Vickers gets the inside position on that to regain possession for the Lynx. It's off a skate there as the puck again came to a slowdown at the blue line. Got it as far as Perouche, who shot it into the Wolves zone, and Western will come back down the other way. As knocked in the zone by Mills, Jade Vickers again, the first defender to the puck, goes back and forth with D partner Morell, as Vickers rims it up the board for Perouche, waiting in the wings on the wing. Going across center ice there, dumping that in back to Morell, and will be first on the puck into the other zone. Finley Blackier shoots that up around the boards there for the Wolves. Nobody was home. Mills is hot in pursuit down the other way, deep in Lynx territory. Coming back, Mary Margaret McLean on D, and the puck came to a stick and a stop right by the goal line near Ellie Powers' net. Team struggling with some stubborn ice there on both sides of the rink. Only a couple minutes into this second period. Play has been going along steady here, though, since the drop of the puck after the flood. Morell caught out there on a long shift for the Lynx. Out there with McLean, but is stripped of the puck there by a Wolves forward. Maya Stevenson tried to throw that in front to a teammate, but was taken off it, as with a lot of speed coming the other way was Julia Brown, but it is off a stick and it skips to a stop right in front of Peyton Crozier, who will finally freeze the puck and get both her teammates and Lynx opponents some long-awaited line changes. 17-11 remaining in the first period here. Face-off comes to the left of Crozier, or to the right rather. Face-off was won by the Cape Breton Lynx, came to Danny Ray McGinnis on the Lynx blue line, but will lose the puck, and it's a dump in the other way by a Wolves forward. Here comes Andrews. Andrews finds her target up the boards, trying to slide that through. Coverage was McCachran, but that is off a skate, much to the pleasure of her Wolves teammates sitting on the bench and watching. Coming in to recover that puck is McCachran on a good forecheck. Her teammate Cassie Cremo was down below the goal line with her. Now out on the ice is Jayla Andrews. Andrews is coming on the end of the shift and thought about changing, but instead gets it down to a teammate. Cremo score! Oh, just over the net. That looked like it was going in, but it was a great blocker save, and she scores! The second attempt that time around beat Crozier. Peyton Crozier had a blocker save there on the first attempt, but the second time, as Cassie Cremo curled out of the corner with that puck, she made no mistake going low blocker that time on Crozier, and the Cape Breton Lynx will double their lead. Cassie Cremo finds the back of the net there. It's 2-0 for the Lynx. A good start to the second period for the visitors. It stopped up high by McNeil as Cape Breton takes it right back in to the zone. And here's the shot from distance from Jade Vickers, and that is blockered away by Crozier. Second attempt in front as Lawan took it toward the net, had the puck in the slot, and regains it over closer to the boards. As it appears, a net guard goes flying onto the ice there in the face-off dot. As the Western Wolves try to play that puck out of pressure in their own zone, and they get it up the ice rather successfully. Finds Brooke McGuigan going up the ice, but she's pinned there to the boards by Olivia Morell. Lynx in the last 15 minutes of play or so have really been locking things down their own zone, and they'll make it a one and done, and Morell will skate it herself up to the red line and is taken down there and will draw the penalty as the Cape Breton Lynx, just moments after doubling their lead, will go back to the power play. It's going to be an interference call. Aislinn McAdam, the guilty party there for the Western Wolves. And for the second time this afternoon, Cape Breton will go to the 5-on-4 advantage. The Western Wolves were successful in killing off that first penalty. Strong penalty kill for Western. Clicking along at 85%. That is good for the 5th best percentage in the league. As a discussion with one of the Cape Breton Lynx coaching staff members there ensues with the officials by the Western Wolves blue line. As the players wait on the ice for play to resume, and it looks like they're good to go. 15-19 left in the second period. As the second Lynx power play of the game kicks off, and it's off a stick, and getting that out pretty quickly was the Western Wolves. First one up there on the forecheck was McGuigan, who knocks it off the stick and will waste no time in going for the change and getting some fresh legs on for Western. Jade Vickers coming up very quickly on the other side, comes on close side and was looking to take the shot but lost it. Might have got caught up in some more sticky ice there, as it has been a little slow to totally freeze up here to start the second period in Evangeline. But it'll be to the aid of the Western Wolves, who will get it 200 feet down the ice for even more changes and more time off the Cape Breton Lynx power play. Vickers headed for half a second there. Coming in support and stripping the puck was Avery McNeil, but she was a little overzealous there as she is called offside. And now the power play unit for the Cape Breton Lynx will take a change with 1:14 remaining on the 5-on-4 advantage. The draw will come just in the neutral zone outside the line. Layla Austin taking the face-off for the power play unit for Cape Breton. Countering the other way was Callie McNeil, making up 1/4 of the penalty-killing unit currently on the ice for Western. We get another stoppage in play. And that face-off will this time come a little closer to the Cape Breton Lynx net. It'll be in front of the Wolves bench. Now 1:07 left in this interference penalty to Aislinn McAdam of the Wolves. The Western Wolves penalty kill looking pretty strong here in the first half of this hockey game. Layla Austin looking to change that for the Lynx. Austin will walk to the slot and is broken up. A good active stick there by Maria McPherson to steer the play to the outside. As McLean tried to make a play but failed on it. Here comes the captain, Callie McNeil. And Strong back on defense as Austin coming all the way back, and McNeil almost got the puck back after that pressure. But some good defending there by Layla Austin of the Lynx to keep that from becoming a Wolves scoring chance. Kept the feet moving, kept the hands on the stick. Everything you could ask for there to keep that puck from going in without taking a penalty there. However, the Lynx still not really getting set up here on this power play. Only 20 seconds left in the one-player advantage here. They make some changes, and looked like one player from Cape Breton was caught napping there, as it was only 4-on-4 on the ice there for a second. A fifth Lynx player finally jumped on, but the Lynx power play is just about to wrap up here as McLean holds the line, coming across for Brown and taking that shot. Looked like it hit the skate of a Wolves player and gone wide. And that's up off the glass, and it'll head down toward Ellie Power in the Lynx net. It won't be an icing, but it'll buy enough time for the Wolves to complete a full line change. Now here comes Brown at center ice, finds Jayla Andrews, getting it down to her teammate Ava Landry, going down in the close side corner. It's off a skate, and I don't even think Peyton Crozier saw that puck flying into her glove. She was flying one way as the puck redirected the other. But that's where it ended up nonetheless, and it'll be maybe a little bit of a stroke of luck there. It'll force a whistle to Crozier's right for the draw. 12:50 remaining in this second period. Only one goal here in the middle frame. That came from Cassie Cremo, who beat Crozier with a wrist shot to the low blocker, but just a few minutes here into the second frame here. That follows a Jade Vickers goal toward the end of the first period, and that's the difference right now, as it's 2-0 for the visiting Cape Breton Lynx. And that is thrown over. It's paddled away by Crozier as that centering pass went wide. Puck came all the way out to the neutral zone, taken in by Cassie Cremo. Will go in one-on-one with a bit of a back check there from a Wolves player, but it rolls along the ice, and it's an easy scoop for Crozier to force another whistle. Both teams will do some complete line changes there. As mentioned earlier, it was quite the day travel-wise for the Cape Breton Lynx, making the roughly 6-hour trek from Member to Nova Scotia in Cape Breton to make this game. The Confederation Bridge closed to high-sided traffic here for the majority of today. The Lynx bus got to Cape Tormentine over in New Brunswick, only to be told the bridge was stopped. So the Western Wolves players, parents, staff, whoever had a vehicle helped in getting the Lynx players over here for today's hockey game in Evangeline, which is about a 40-minute drive from the Confederation Bridge. But a good gesture of goodwill here, that Islander hospitality in its own way. The Prince Edward Islander hospitality, although very good in Cape Breton as well. As of just about an hour or two ago, the bridge had opened to all traffic once more, as some heavy winds here across the Maritimes are finally starting to die down. The Lynx won't be in a rush to get out of here, though, as they play here again in Evangeline bright and early tomorrow morning at 10:30. They'll be going home tomorrow afternoon. So their bus will make its way up here to the Evangeline Recreation Center to take them for the night after the hockey game, and take them back here for puck drop here early tomorrow morning on High Button Sports. After an offside there against the Lynx, there will be a whistle in front of the Cape Breton bench. It's won by Cape Breton. It comes back to Jade Vickers, who makes the short pass off the boards. The Western Wolves read that, though, as Blackier tried to force that up across the opposing blue line on the boards, and will get it up to her teammate Mills. Mills is sticked aside by Vickers. Vickers had the stick up in her hands, so that's going to be a hooking call here. It's a delayed penalty. Blackier squirts over loose. Here's the opportunity. Oh, what a stop. And it's rolling around in the blue crease. What an excellent chance there. It looked like Caden Thomas of the Wolves was on top of that. Actually, it looked like Miley Stevenson was right there, number 16 in the blue uniform. but it'll be enough to draw a penalty as Vickers of the Lynx will head off for the penalty of 2 minutes or less, and the Western Wolves will now go back to the power play for the second time here this afternoon. The Lynx killed off that one. The Lynx have an 81% penalty kill efficiency here. Best for 7th best in the league. As McGuigan steps in and takes the puck back for the Wolves. Brooke McGuigan on the close side, curling up to the top of the slot. She has some daylight, and that's off the knob of the stick there of Ellie Power. Just got enough of it to steer it high and wide. Cornered in the corner is Maya Stevenson. Stevenson looking crossways for McGuigan, but it's out of her reach, and the Wolves will have to start again in the neutral zone. Trying on that entry is Callie McNeil. McNeil lost the pucks around the hash marks, but looks to regain possession on the other side. That's Kane Thomas picking it up, but will quickly be stripped of the puck by Ryland Gabriel, and the Cape Breton Lynx Killers will go for a change and some sets of fresh legs. McNeil again lean that breakout, squeeze it through to Mills. We might have a 2-on-1 here as driving the net is Thomas, but it's off a stick. A good heads-up play there by Ava Landry, the killer for the Lynx. Oh, good move here. Hallie Murray tries to walk it in close. It's loose. Rebound off the goal post with that one. Trying to shovel it in on the backhand. Kayla Mills got oh so close, and she found Iron along the ice. Pino will keep it in, though, for the Wolves. Here's another chance on net. Mills trying to get some redemption now. Instead, feeds it up top for Pino. Now will curl over to the corner as they get some line changes. 30 seconds left on this Wolves power play. Here's the shot. That soars on wide. The rebound. Oh, possibly saving a goal there was a good stick. And Mary Margaret McLean had a wide open net there. Not sure if Ellie Power would have quite gotten over quick enough to make the save there. It was an excellent opportunity there for Miley Stevenson of the Wolves. But a good heads-up stick by Mary Margaret McLean of the Cape Breton Lynx. A very imposing presence on the Cape Breton blue line, as she especially shows in her penalty-killing abilities. The face-off is won by the Wolves. The rebound again, and that is off the shin pads of Ryland Gabriel. Will the Wolves keep it in? Yes, they will. Over to McPherson on the drop pass, and almost getting away with that was Cremo. She has some room, but Miley Stevenson will get on her horse and get back on the back check to prevent that from turning into anything. But it'll be enough to kill off the rest of the Lynx penalty as Jade Vickers steps out of the penalty box. A good kill there by the Lynx, and by far the best chances of the afternoon for the Western Wolves to try and get on the board and back in this hockey game here at home. But it remains a 2-0 game for the Cape Breton Lynx. Play will come to a sudden halt there on the corner as walking through. Oh, some good shimmy shaking there from Layla Austin, who almost walked right in on Crozier, but fanned on the backhand shot going in on that dangle, and it'll come out. Mary Margaret McLean out there on a pairing with Jade Vickers on this shift. Good pressure there by Webster on the forecheck, but Vickers will come away with it. Jade Vickers lets a snapper go along the ice, gets the rebound off, looking for a target in front. A couple jabs at it in front of the net. Looked like McLean was there, now lost in the feet of LaWand, but it came out and just enough out of harm's way. The Lynx had a couple good cracks there on a constrained Crozier, but made the saves nonetheless. Here's the shot, a hard one from Vickers, is stopped by the high blocker of Crozier, who's made a couple of important ones there, following a flurry of chances for her own team. Walking again is the Lynx, the forehand, backhand, good opportunity by Elise Angioni, trying to show off the hands in close, and now driving at it. Good opportunity by Julia Brown. Oh, what a shift this has been for the Cape Breton Lynx, as they're really finding a way to get around this Wolves defense and get some scoring chances. But now a Western player will pick it up and take it out. It's Callie McNeil. The captain goes east to west here, throws that along the ice, is sticked off away by McLean. The Lynx got it back for a moment and regained possession. Angioni gains a zone on the counterattack. Angioni going up against a pair of Wolves. Didn't quite draw the penalty there, but put up a fight as a pair of her teammates go for a change. And maybe a little bit of relief here for the Wolves. Not quite, as flying off the bench here is Ava Landry. Landry headed for a moment, got it to her teammate Morella on the line. She lost it between her skates. taking a heavy slash there. Rylan Gabriel throws off a player. She's going to walk in off a skate and walks right in. The shot, rebound, and where's the puck? Nobody knows. The referee will freeze the play, and Peyton Crozier somehow came up with that puck. An excellent individual effort by Rylan Gabriel, who sidestepped two different Western Wolves players and almost came in and to make it 3-0 by herself. But Peyton Crozier had other ideas. Crozier, as mentioned off the top of the broadcast here, one of these unsung heroes this year for the Western Wolves. Her record might not reflect it. She's only won 4 of her 14 appearances here this season, but sports a .932 save percentage. She stops a lot of pucks and does face a lot of shots. In fact, the last time she played against the Lynx, she stopped 45 shots in that 4-2 Western win all the way back on November 15th, and she's faced a lot of rubber here this afternoon too, as the Cape Breton Lynx have controlled most of the game since about the midway point of the first period. As Isabelle Perouche tried to take it around, but Kate Waugh of the Wolves had other ideas, is going to force it back down the other way. Murray trying to get a counterattack going here for the hosts here, but can't secure it. The Cape Breton Lynx will take it the other way. It's Ava Landry wearing number 3 in the white and purple. She's come to the end of a shift, though, and all her line mates will change up. Some fresh legs on for the visitors. Layla Austin steps around one player, steps around another, will fight off the defender Maria McPherson. Still playing around with it. Gets it back to McLean on the blue line. Has a heavy shot from the point, but that's off a leg and wide. Forced out front, right on top of the net, looked like Cremo. Cremo already has 1 this afternoon. Almost had another as she tried to get that backhand high and over the shoulder of Crozier. Shot from McGinnis. Looked like it hit Cremo and went wide. Cassie Cremo will cut it toward the net. On the backhand, was looking for that high blocker corner. A nifty little shot up high, but just missed her target, as on the dump-in attempt, McLean shot it into the bench. It looked like it hit the backup goalie today for the Cape Breton Lynx, Abby Jessam, sitting on the bench, but has all the gear on, so no harm done there. 5 minutes and 7 seconds left in the second period here. Cape Breton Lynx hanging on to this 2-0 lead. Have controlled the last roughly 5 minutes of play, as there was a tip there off the point shot from Vickers. Went wide. Hillary Lewan, the pass out front, winding up for that shot was Julia Brown. That one's going to go wide. Playing with the puck and beyond the net is Layla Austin. Rather, that's Brown, wearing number 7. Out there on the line with Lewan. It's a good battle in front of the net for Elise Angioni. And that is off a body in front. Good stick, the rebound, and an excellent grade A scoring opportunity for Julia Brown. And oh my goodness, hasn't Crozier really been holding her team in here this period, as it hasn't been a perfect defensive period for the host Wolves, but has been giving her team some breaks here for sure. Crozier. With only 4:33 left to go in this period, the face-off will come to her left. The Avery McNeil line will come on for the Cape Breton Lynx, but the face-off is won by the Wolves, trying to take it out herself with a lot of speed and steam, as Misha Pino will get it all the way to the blue line. It does just enough to force the offside for the Cape Breton Lynx. Gets it all the way up the center. Here comes Duncan. Gains entry into the zone, but she sidestepped there and forced her own teammate offside, so that'll be an offside call against the Western Wolves. The face-off will come to the dot just in front of their bench here in the neutral zone. Make sure to join us tomorrow here on the High Button Sports. These teams will wrap up their weekend doubleheader here bright and early tomorrow at the Evangeline Recreation Center. Puck drop at 10:30 here tomorrow morning. There's a collision at center ice. Going head over heels was Ava Landry, as she is taken down at about the Western Wolves blue line. She's going to head right off the ice here. She's hurting a little bit, doesn't look too bad, but was clearly favoring one of her knees there. And it's going to be a penalty charged to Misha Pino of the Western Wolves. And the Cape Breton Lynx will go to a power play here. A great opportunity for them to try and take an extended lead into the dressing room after the second period. They're 0 for 2 so far on the 5-on-4 advantage this afternoon. Ryland Gabriel plays that puck down. It's a shot in front, trying to jump on it. Peyton Crozier had a couple chances in a very trafficked area in front of her goal crease, but will finally cover it up to her relief for face-off to her left. Cassie Cremo taking the face-off for the Lynx, going up against Callie McNeil, the Wolves captain, and McNeil won the draw but was quickly taken away by the Lynx, and it's an errant pass intended for Ryland Gabriel, has to be relieved by her D partner Jade Vickers. Gabriel and Vickers going D to D on the way to break this out. It's a long pass out as far and out of the reach of Danny Ray McGinnis. Cape Breton Lynx have 3 defenders out, and they score! Looked like it was a pass going across toward the middle of the ice somewhere, but that will fool Crozier and go up and into the net. Danny Ray McGinnis is the first to fly by the Cape Breton Lynx bench there, so it looks like she'll get credit for the goal there. Might have been a bit of an own goal, looked like it hit a Wolves player in front, but it's a power play goal for the Cape Breton Lynx. It's a very good power play they have no matter how they put the puck into the net. The third best in the league, in fact, running at 20.6%. And it'll give them a 3-goal cushion here late in this second period. It's 3-0 for the Cape Breton Lynx now, off the stick, or off the direction of Danny Ray McGinnis, off the stick of a Wolves defender. And a good cushion now here in this big road game for the Cape Breton Lynx as that puck is thrown on net. McPherson on the second opportunity for the Wolves, and the shot goes wide. Stevenson was right in front of the net. Maya Stevenson missed on the second opportunity. That's off the skate of Peruche as Maya Stevenson tried on the second opportunity to get that shot through. It's a good follow-up shift by the Wolves here so far. They couldn't quite get it as far as Ellie Powers' net, though, as the puck is cleared out of the zone by the Lynx. In the feet of Isabel Peruche. Turnover by the Wolves as Murray lost it right around the goal. Her own blue line there, rather. Olivia Morel forces it up to Peruche. Tiring shift, mostly in the D zone for this Cape Breton Lynx line. Everybody will go for a change here. 2 minutes and 25 seconds remain in this second period. Just moments ago, Danny Ray McGinnis threw a puck in the direction of the slot front near the Wolves net. It hit a Western Wolves defender and went up and over the shoulder of Peyton Crozier in net. And that has made it 3-0 in favor of the away team Lynx here right now. The Cape Breton Lynx 5-7 on the road this year. Just short of 500. But they have won 3 of their last 4 games away from home. They're based out of the Member 2 Sport and Wellness Center in Member 2, Nova Scotia, just outside of Sydney. As the Lynx hold pressure down in the Wolves zone again. Mary Margaret McLean will fork that in behind the Wolves net. Hillary Lewan trying to get that one back here for the Lynx. Out there on that line with Avery McNeil, the center. It's a 2-on-2 frozen puck battle, but coming out free with it is Julia Brown. Brown goes all the way back to the line where McLean was waiting, and that is up high. Looked like it hurt Misha Pino for a second, but looks fine. Getting that up to her teammate, Kayla Mills. Mills not making life easy beyond that net for Danny Ray McGinnis, but McGinnis will get it to her winger. It's stripped by a Wolves player, though. It's Finley Blackier coming in on the pinch off that Wolves blue line and will force it. Tried to shovel that through the blue crease, but it is padded aside as Ellie Power knocks that out of harm's way. Play comes in front of the Wolves bench there and finally up to about center ice. Lots of physical play there as trying to walk in, powering through now, coming in on the forehand, backhand, scores! The Western Wolves are on the board. Kinley Duncan, the individual opportunity, and lots of credit where credit was due for some teamwork there. Miley Stevenson, it all started with her tying up the Lynx defender there, and coming in to clean up the mess was Kinley Duncan, who opens the scoring for the Western Wolves with only 52 seconds remaining on the clock here in the second period. And it's back to a 2-goal deficit for Western late in this second period. That is a big one here for the Western Wolves. The Cape Breton Lynx have controlled the majority of this second period, including a pair of goals. Not to say the Wolves haven't had their chance. In fact, on an earlier power play, they hit a post and missed the net only by mere inches a couple of times. But finally, on the forehand-backhand partial breakaway, Kinley Duncan beats Ellie Power right along the ice to bring that deficit back to 2 goals. Cape Breton Lynx still holding on to a sturdy lead, though, as they come right in tight on the net. Elise Angioni tried to squeeze that in and maybe find a teammate in the blue paint in front of Crozier of the Wolves. Angioni will pick it back up again in front of the timekeeper's box. Flips it low with less than 20 seconds remaining on the score clock here in Evangeline. Lynx get it deep in the Western territory. Some fresh legs out there for Cape Breton as well. Jayla Andrews leaned away, is right in the middle of that scrum. Coming in on the pressure is Rylan Gabriel, who forces it down low. But that will do it for the second period. As the Cape Breton Lynx, they added to that period, but a bit of a momentum shift there with 52 seconds remaining moments ago in the second period, as Kinley Duncan came in and scored on the breakaway for the host Western Wolves. Goals that period coming 2 from the Cape Breton Lynx. Cassie Cremo with 1, only minutes into the period. There's late period 1 from Danny Ray McGinnis. And of course, Duncan for the Wolves. And that's where we stand after 40 minutes of action here. 3-1 for the Cape Breton Lynx, trying to take game 1 of this weekend doubleheader here in Abrams Village PEI. We'll be right back here in about 10 minutes for third period action on High Button Sports. And welcome back to Western PEI for the third period here at the Evangeline Recreation Center in this Maritime Major U18 Female Hockey League matchup between the Cape Breton Lynx and the Western Wolves. And after 40 minutes of play, the Cape Breton Lynx are up by 2 goals. They lead by a score of 3-1. And there were 3 goals in that middle period there, starting with Cassie Cremo scoring her 12th of the campaign early on. Later on the power play, Danny Ray McGinnis, the defender, got a fortunate bounce her way that popped in to make it 3-0 Lynx. But the Western Wolves did not come out of that period without any goals of their own, as Kinley Duncan took the puck in on the breakaway, went forehand, backhand, beating the goaltender Ellie Power to her right to cut the lead back down to 2 for the Cape Breton Lynx. And here's an interesting stat for the Lynx going into the third period. With Danny Ray McGinnis's power play goal, that makes her the 4th player this year to score at least 4 times on the 5-on-4 advantage. Ava Landry, Jade Vickers, Elise Angioni, all with 4 goals each on the power play this year. Danny Ray McGinnis scores her 4th on the one-person advantage here this season in Cape Breton's 25th game of the 2025-2026 hockey season. As we get underway here in the third period, both the teams back on their familiar sides, the Lynx in the white uniforms to your left, and the Western Wolves in the black and blue over to your right. As the Lynx take it into the O-zone early in this period, Rylan Gabriel tried to shimmy that into the net. We've seen some flashes of offensive brilliance here from her tonight. She had a couple good scoring chances there, especially in the second period, but hasn't quite broken through, but her team remains in the lead by a pair of goals. Breaking that out, good pass up and out by Madison McCachran as her teammates go for a change. Coming up with some speed is Charlie Webster. Webster went one way, then the other on the defender Olivia Morell as it came on back down to the line, and gaining the center ice line for the Cape Breton Lynx is Isabel Perouche. Perouche is in and forced a turnover to McNeil. Shoot along the ice, rebound, scores! And a big goal there and a statement by Hillary Lawand, who cleans up the garbage in front of the net, beats Crozier, and only a minute and 15 seconds into the third period, the Cape Breton Lynx have restored their 3-goal lead. It is 4-1. Lawand has a knack for scoring these important goals for the Cape Breton Lynx, especially in recent games. Last week against the Lindsay Surge at home, they were down 2-0 to the Surge. Lawand scored late in the second period to make that game 2-1, kept it close until the Surge pulled away later in the game. And now this time with the Wolves pressing early in the third period, Lawand says thank you very much on that pass out front, set up by her center, Avery McNeil, and it turns into a goal as the Cape Breton Lynx score their 4th of the hockey game here and lead by 3 goals. Swing them behind the net, that's Misha Pino trying to get the breakout going for the Western Wolves, trying to formulate a quick response after that important Lynx goal. Walking in is Hallie Murray, the center for this Wolves line. Come back the other way is Elise Angioni. Angioni hits the brakes at the top of the circle. Joined in pressure by Julia Brown. Brown will curl it in behind the net on her backhand. Is pinned along the boards there by Hallie Murray. Murray, no penalty on that play as one player went down. Gets it off to Brooke McGuigan. Her teammates will go for a change, but McGuigan decides to go for a skate. Lets a long shot go. It's high and wide of the net and bounces over to a Lynx player. Taking it out of the zone, Layla Austin will go for a skate. Austin leaves it off for Danny Ray McGinnis, who will get it into the zone, but not much further. Taken the other way, counterattack here by McNeil, and it's right into the jersey somewhere of Ellie Power Annette. And the puck freezes up. Referee loses sight and will blow down the play for a whistle and a face-off to Power's right. Callie McNeil taking the draw for the Wolves on this one. Face-off is won by Western. Good pressure there. The wingers weren't tied up as McCachran went right after Richards on D, and the Lynx will get it out of the zone. Coming back hard, though, is Thomas. Will force it down low for Olivia Morel, the defender. Gets it up to Gabriel. Pass across the ice. Now, Masson McCachran will get it through to her teammate Landry. Landry will cut in deep. She's had a couple of close calls here today as well. Some really good offensive opportunities, whether with or without goals, all game long for the Lynx, and just showing why they're in such a cushy lead right now as they have created lots of opportunities for themselves. Now taking the puck down the other way, it's Caden Thomas, and Thomas is stopped up, loses the stick as she looks skyward, frustrated by that one. The Lynx tried to take it back in the other way, but it is knocked up and out of the zone. Come back as Thomas right through the legs of her teammate Stevenson. Stevenson cuts in behind the net, joined by Mills, who was driving toward the crease, but lost the puck and nothing came out of that one. Held up at the point. The Wolves keep it in. Here's Mills cutting in. Stevenson, the shot went wide. Miley Stevenson so close to forcing that up and over the glove of Ellie Power. Now Maya Stevenson will make a curl up at the top of the slot toward the blue line, taken down by Avery McNeil. And up for Lawand. Hillary Lawand scored just a few moments ago, a minute 15 into the third period for the Cape Breton Lynx. And that has made it the difference that it is right now, a 4-1 lead for the Cape Breton-based visitors here this afternoon, as it's knocked down toward the other end for Maya Stevenson of the Western Wolves, but she had the puck just a bit too much out of her reach there, and it'll be an icing charge toward the Wolves and a face-off down in their zone. .32 remaining in the third period. The teams will meet again for the second half of their doubleheader here at the Evangeline Recreation Center here this weekend. Puck drop at 10:15 in the morning here on High Button Sports. For both teams, it'll be their final games of the 2025 calendar year. Both clubs are battling for fifth place in a hardly tight-fought league here, the Maritime Major U18 Female Hockey League. Only 3 points separate these teams. The Cape Breton Lynx, 22 points in the standings, including 10 wins. Only 15 minutes away from their 11th. The Western Wolves are 3 points behind them right now with 19 points. As Isabel Peruche will cut toward the slot, and that is knocked aside and just barely goes over the net. It looked to take a funny bounce off Crozier after she made the blocker save and went straight up in the air over her head, but kept out of the net. Good pressure there by the Wolves, but was kept in at the line by Rylan Gabriel. She threw it up off the glass. She'll face another challenge here. This time the Wolves will get it out. And the feet of Gabriel coming in support of Ava Landry. Landry starts a 3-on-2 for the Wolves. Drop to McCachran. The shot, that's off Landry. It looked like it'd be a shot. Over to the rebound. Another opportunity there. That one was off the stick of Julia Brown, but Crozier was ready for that. Counterattack the other way, but coming at the end of a shift was Aislinn McAdam. But her teammates will recover down in the other end. Kinley Duncan was right on top of that puck. Duncan, the lone goal scorer here in this game for the Western Wolves. She scored late in the second period, made it 3-1 at the time. It's a one-on-one battle going down the other way. Landry's right on top of it. Rather, Julia Brown, and coming in support is Hillary Lawand. McNeil takes a bump there. McNeil had an assist on that last Lawand goal, and they remain out on that line together as McNeil spins around. There's a backhand shot. It's up in the air and off a stick, and pouncing on it was Peyton Crozier to force the whistle coming over crease to jump on top of that one, and will force the face-off to the right, and her defenders will also get a much-desired line change. After this weekend series between the Lynx and the Wolves, today their third meeting of the season, tomorrow their fourth. Their final meeting of the regular season will come on January 4th, and they will play it in neutral territory in Fredericton as part of the weekend tournament here between Maritime Major U18 Female Hockey League teams. As Jade Vickers throws it toward the net, that took a wild bounce, and a pair of Lynx came in there viciously looking for a rebound, but it was knocked out of harm's way there by the Wolves defenders. Curling around the net, Misha Pino trying to get that puck out, as deflected up and just enough out as Hillary Lamont struggled to contain that puck at the blue line, as the Lynx players will go for a change. Going on the clear, that is knocked down in the slot as Angioni came barreling off the bench for Cape Breton. Now down to supporters, Layla Austin. Now driving to the net is Cremo. Austin going around the other side with support from Angioni, is pinned to the boards there by a Wolves defender. Coming out of the battle is Austin. Austin threw it along the ice and wide, almost trying to find Cremo there. Cremo gets away over to Angioni, but that will ricochet up and over her stick. Cremo battling in. It's a one-on-one down in the corner over the left shoulder of the goaltender Crozier. Over in the bottom right corner of your screen, it's a 2-on-2 battle. As driving up the boards, Layla Austin really trying to work that up to her defender. Up to Morel, goes D to D as Vickers walks in, and that did not miss by much, looking for some daylight on the short side on Crozier, but it'll rim all the way around the boards. Didn't hit a Wolf, so it's not icing, as Western will go for a full line change. First on that puck for Western, Kayla Mills jumps on it, will now drive to the net, got a stick on it only for a second, the shot, she scores! Big goal there. There's Aislinn McAdam putting that up over the glove of Ellie Power, and the Wolves will cut the lead in half here. And with 12 minutes left in the third period, there's a little bit of life here in the home team with that one. It's 4-2. And a crucial goal at a crucial time for the Western Wolves. The last couple shifts absolutely dominated by the Cape Breton Lynx, but Western comes down, gets some fresh bodies on the ice after a line change, and with that one, Aislinn McAdam is the one registering there, and McAdam gets another shot in close, but that time ready for it was Ellie Power, as there's a couple shoves there after the whistle. Lying on the ice, Maya Stevenson of the Wolves gets up rather unscathed, but there's a little pushing and shoving going on there for a moment, but gets away from it. McAdam, her fourth goal of the campaign. It's a big one. Makes it 4-2, the Wolves' second goal of the afternoon. Face-off will come here to the left of Ellie Power, taking that draw. Hallie Murray lost the face-off to her Lynx counterpart. Thrown out in front of the net as Murray tried to get toward the net. That hit the goalie and went wide. Jumping right on top of it was Power. And now, as you can see, it really jolted some energy into the Western Wolves there. What a shift for this forward line led by Maya Stevenson and Aislinn McAdam. McAdam, of course, getting that goal moments ago, as they will finally get some rest and go for the change. And this is only an example. These games aren't over until it's over. When the Wolves beat the Lynx on November 15th, it was by a 4-2 score. The Lynx win the day after that was 4-1, slightly less close, a 3-goal spread. But it just goes to show how close it can be between these two teams. As Cape Breton breaks it down into the other end. They're a step over eager, though, as the white uniforms go offside. That buys a little bit of time for McCachran to bring it back, or rather McPherson to bring it back the other way for the Western Wolves. It's a one-on-one battle in behind the net. Losing a tire there was Danny Ray McGinnis. Lost the puck and drive into the net. Good opportunity for Callie McNeil driving toward the crease, but couldn't get the stick on it. As the Lynx tried to get down the other way. Good competition there. Kinley Duncan holding the line as a pile-up of players there. There's 3 or 4 Lynx jerseys in toward that battle as Duncan collided with a Cape Breton Lynx player, and coming right back in with is Thomas for the Wolves. Here's the shot in. Caden Thomas winded up on the wrister, but it is knocked aside by Ellie Power and down the other way. Pino forces it up. Now Thomas again has a little bit of room, but not enough, as coming back with a quick stick check was Rylan Gabriel to keep that out of harm's way and drive that Thomas shot wide. Now the other way. Here comes Layla Austin on the backhand, shoves it, it hit a body, and alertly Peyton Crozier froze up and got the pad on it for a save. And an all-important one for the Wolves here, as they can't afford to give up another one at this point in the hockey game with only 10:38 to go in regulation. Western needing all the help that they can. Only down by 2 at this point. 2 flicks of the stick can do it, but a lot of work ahead for sure. As the centers battled off the face-off, the puck hardly moved at all. It was still sitting on the face-off dot as the player skated away, but the Lynx will take it in behind Peyton Crozier's net. Layla Austin will pick up that puck for the Lynx and force it back to the D. Gabriel lets a hard shot fly from the point, but it's off the shin pads of Miley Stevenson. As Stevenson cuts in, took the stick out of one defender's hand and took it into the opposing corner. Stevenson gets right back up, throws it toward the front of the net, but nobody was home in the slot, and Rylan Gabriel will look to buy some time for her teammates as the Lynx prepare for a breakout. Elise Angioni camping out there just inside her own blue line. It's off a skate of Andrews, but Andrews was not aware of that until it bounced back over to a Wolves player. McGuigan gains the center ice line, throwing at the glove, errantly handled by Ellie Power, but jumping off the bench is Jade Vickers for the Lynx, trying to get something here. Almost forced the turnover, got the stick back over to Murray, getting a couple of shots on it. Right on top of that is Aislinn McAdam, the most recent goal scorer here for the Wolves, just a shift to go. Coming up onto the line as Cassie Cremo will dump it, chase it out toward the other end. She's joined with some help there by linemate Maddie McCachran. Cremo digging away at it. McCachran in behind the net. Wins back possession, tried to get it to her teammate Cremo, who was down below the line with her, but they'll have to retreat up toward the top of the circle. Holding the line there, good job by McLean. She fanned on the shot though, and the Wolves will force it up and out of the zone and into the Lynx end. Jade Vickers retreating all the way for the Lynx, and she's going to go for a skate. Look out, here comes Vickers. She has 1 goal today, scoring the first. Here's the shot, snaps it in, and getting a stick on it was Misha Pino, forcing the block as Vickers gave Pino a bit of a shot there with the elbow as the whistle went. But her and the Lynx personnel will change up and get some fresh legs on the ice here with 8:38 remaining on the clock here in this third period. Just over 8 minutes remaining. Cape Breton Lynx just clinging on to a 2-goal lead here. They were up 3-0. They were up 4-1. Now it's 4-2 again, thanks to the most recent Western Wolves goal coming off the stick of Aislinn McAdam. Misha Pino trying to start that breakout. There was a bump there. It's going to be a penalty coming up to the Cape Breton Lynx. This is going to be a big opportunity for the Western Wolves at this point in the hockey game. It's going to be a body-checking penalty, and Rylan Gabriel will head to the box to sit for 2 minutes or less here, as with 8:14 left in regulation time, the Wolves will head to the 5-on-4 advantage for the third time this evening. Trying to get something going here on the power play, only clicking at about 11.8% here this season. 6 of 9 teams in the Maritime Major U18 Female Hockey League. And the draw was won by the Lynx, but it came back out to the blue line for the Wolves. That pass was intended for Kayla Mills. It went wide, was on the wrong hand, but coming in to support was Maya Stevenson. And that's off a shin pad in front. It's going to roll right around to the corner, and unable to keep it in was Brooke McGuigan. She elects to take it out to center ice and then back to her own blue line. McGuigan looking at her options. The Wolves trying to get set up. They struggled with setting up today, although their power play did have some decent chances the last time they had the extra player out there in the second period. They're going to go for the dump in. First player in on the forecheck is Kayla Mills, and in to help her out is Hallie Murray as the Wolves retain possession. A minute 15 left in this recent power play. The penalty is charged to Rylan Gabriel. Gabriel is an important killer as it's bounced up over. She scores! It crossed the line! According to the referee, anyway, pointing at the goal, and it's going to be a power play marker. That one going to Maya Stevenson. And just like that, the Wolves have cut the lead to 1. It's 4-3. They weren't sure if that one quite went in at first. Stevenson was digging for the puck around Ellie Power's net, but it took a bounce up and into the air. And the referee had the perfect view of that right on the goal line. And she said it completely crossed the line and went in. And it's the third goal of the afternoon here for the Western Wolves to make it 4-3. So buckle in. We're going to have a big finish here in Evangeline, as it's only a 1-goal lead that the Lynx are hanging on to. They were up 4-1 earlier this period. Hazel McAdam scored about 5 minutes ago, and this time on the power play. The Wolves cut the lead to 1. But the face-off will come all the way back down to their own zone here. The Lynx are going to win it. And here's the shot from distance. She scores! What a quick response for Cape Breton. Madison McCachran from one knee will snipe it up over the blocker of Peyton Crozier, and that will restore the 2-goal cushion for the visitors. It is 5-3 for Cape Breton now. And that is a huge one for Cape Breton there, as the momentum really seemed to be shifting from about 5 minutes into this period here, the third period, going the Wolves' way. About the last 10 minutes, Western was really having some impressive shifts and making things happen, not completely controlling the play, but making things happen to close it to 4-3. But Madison McCachran with a huge goal there, and a relieving one anyway for the Cape Breton Lynx. It's McCachran's fourth of the 2025-26 hockey season, her 9th point. And that might be just enough. Now, there is still only under 7 minutes left, but if this one stands, it could be a winning goal, or at the very least, an insurance goal. However, we're going to have a penalty here coming up against the Cape Breton Lynx, and we have 4 minutes on the clock. Mary Margaret McLean in the penalty box for the Lynx. So it's a double minor, so 4 minutes of power play time for the Wolves as that shot just trickled wide. Another huge opportunity here for Western to get back in this game once again, as we had seen on the last power play as that puck rolled wide. Caden Thomas has that puck out for Richards. Now down for the high shot for McNeil. Callie McNeil's wrister went high and wide. The face-off will stay inside as it looked to hit a stick of a Lynx player. Didn't quite see what the last penalty to Mary Margaret McLean of the Lynx, what she was charged for. But it is undoubtedly a double minor penalty here. 3:40 left on this power play opportunity here for the Western Wolves, which will take up most of the rest of regulation time unless we get a quick goal or two here. At the point is Pino. As a good opportunity in down low, Miley Stevenson tried to take it in, but it was a good shot block. I think Danny Ray McGinnis came up with the block on that, and they're going to have to get their bodies in front of pucks here, the Lynx, to try and keep the Wolves off the board and seal this all-important road win here toward Christmas. As a Wolves player is going for a change, Misha Pino has come to the end of a shift, and the puck was going behind her as she was heading toward the bench. Didn't quite see it, but Stevenson will re-enter the zone for the Western Wolves. That being Miley Stevenson is out with Maya Stevenson, who is now challenging for puck possession, and behind the net is going to pin the defender Olivia Morel behind the net. Morel goes in chase, now goes up against the other Stevenson, Miley, down in the corner. Up top, here's the shot from distance from McPherson. That rolls along the ice looking for Mills, but didn't get anywhere as it rolls to Morel. Morel stepping around. Hallie Murray of the Wolves goes one way and then the opposite way. 2:30 left on this power play for the Western Wolves. Double minor. As that goes toward the net, the puck's loose in the crease. And jumping in on top of it at the last second was Ellie Power covering up. That was free there for a couple of seconds, with a few Wolves players bearing down hard on the net. But it stays out for now. Still 2:25 left on the power play for Western. 5 minutes and 11 seconds on the clock here in the third period. The Cape Breton Lynx The most recent goal scorers here, Masson McAkron just scored a couple minutes ago to make it 5-3. It was 4-3 after a Maya Stevenson marker. I briefly cut the lead to 1, but now it's back up to 2 as the Wolves are looking for a way to cut that lead back down and maybe even tie this thing or take the lead, but the clock is ticking for the home side here. Taken in, here comes Callie McNeil, the Wolves captain, will curl in and secure the entry for Western. Shot down into the corner, Brooke McGuigan got in deep, looking for McNeil on the other side, but the Lynx will swing it all the way back around and away. And first to the puck is Layla Austin on the kill. Austin trying to get that in deep and kill a little bit of time. She's going to hold it up along the boards, going up in strong against McGuigan, the defender, as Pino hops off the bench. Rather, Charlie Webster hops off the bench, quarterbacking this Wolves power play here. Minute 30 left on the power play as Charlie Webster drops it off. Here's the shot. That was a high, hard one there. Looked like Maya Stevenson shot that one, but it misses and comes all the way out. But Pino will bring it back into the zone. That's up high. A good block there by Danny Ray McGinnis, and will dump it down the ice, and the Lynx will get a change. Now 1 minute remaining on this double minor power play for the Western Wolves. This would be a big kill for the Lynx, maybe a game-winning penalty kill as we eclipse the 4-minute mark here of the third period, and the Wolves are struggling to get this puck up the ice and through the neutral zone as the Lynx are really trapping them in here as Isabelle Perouche stops the attack up by the timekeeper's bench and will shoot it down in deep. Down up center ice. Maya Stevenson's waiting for it. Now McPherson will break it. McPherson has a little bit of room. Will get it toward the net. And it is covered up by Ellie Power. Will get the face-off down the zone. And we might have a call here. And that will be the case. The power play for the Wolves will come to an end. Maria McPherson taking a penalty there. Looked like a roughing after the whistle call. It'll just be a minor penalty, but the face-off will come back the other way to the Western Wolves end. We're going to get 32 seconds of 4-on-4 action, at which point Mary Margaret McLean will jump out of the box for the Lynx and make it a roughly minute and a half power play with time winding down this third period. Conversation between the official and one of the players ensues. I think the Lynx might have momentarily had an extra player on the ice, but the officials get that straightened out as Austin takes the draw for Cape Breton. Gets tied up there as the Lynx come right in. Lawan got that puck back to her defenders. McNeil letting that shot go from the back. Avery McNeil's snapper got all the way to Crozier's net, but she will cover up for a face-off to her left this time with 3:07 remaining in the third period. Avery McNeil taking the draw against Miley Stevenson for the Wolves. Wolves winger got it all the way up to the point. Holding that line was Vickers, but now Mills will walk out of it. But Vickers comes back on the stick lift and will get it to her teammate Avery McNeil, who will now skate with it. Trying to fight her off on the battle. Loses a tire at center ice, and a call is made. The Wolves with the penalty on that one. It's a hooking minor that will go against one Wolves player anyway. We'll see who. But in 2 seconds, we're going to get a Cape Breton Lynx 5-on-3. Only 2:48 left here with Cape Breton hanging on to that 2-goal lead. Trying to secure the first game of this weekend doubleheader in Western PEI here this weekend. The final games for both of these teams in the calendar year of 2025, trying to go out on a high note here, especially the Lynx on the road, as that puck ricochets wide. It's now a 5-on-3 for Cape Breton with time ticking down here in the third frame. Out there on the power play with Jade Vickers over to Ryland Gabriel. The pass out front, that went right on the stick of Cassie Cremo. Cremo curls back toward the point as Gabriel will swing up toward the top of the slot. Lets it go along the ice. Rebound. Cremo! Oh, what a save! Flashing the leather. Peyton Crozier coming up with that one. Looking to give her team at least a bit of a fighting chance here very late in this third period. Only 2 minutes and 10 seconds left on the clock. 52 seconds left in this 5-on-3 power play for the Cape Breton Lynx. They're 1 for 3 on the power play here so far this afternoon. They have the third best power play in the league this year. They're operating at a 20.6% clip heading into this hockey game as the Wolves clear it down the ice. And unless there's 2 goals, the Lynx will be on the power play here for at least another minute, which will take them into the final minute of regulation. 5-on-3 here for another 25 seconds as Cape Breton gets set up again in the Wolves zone. Rylan Gabriel takes a bump but takes a puck back after a spin. The shot going the other way as Danny Ray McGinnis trying to get her second of the afternoon here. Had lots of time and space, but that one-timer went wide. Stopping up as looking to make the play across the other side. Over to McGinnis, lets a shot go, but ready on the stand-up save with the glove is Crozier, who will bring the play to a stop. Only 3 seconds left on the first Western Wolves penalty, at which point Maria McPherson will jump out of the box. Still be another 30 seconds of power play time for the Lynx after that, though. 81 seconds left in the hockey game. It's the Cape Breton Lynx trying to close in and snap their 4-game losing streak here. Although they've been quite successful on the road recently, they've won 3 of their last 4 away from Cape Breton. Cape Breton Lynx have not won in their last 4 hockey games. They have 10 wins so far on the season, 24 games. As we enter the final minute of play, this will be their 11th win of the campaign. It'll move them to 24 points on the season. It'll put them 5 points clear of the Western Wolves for 5th place in the Maritime Major U18 Female Hockey League. As it's a pursuit for the puck here down in the Western Wolves zone. We're back to 5-on-5 action, but with only seconds to go in this hockey game. The shot is high. That came off the stick of Aislinn McAdam. McAdam has one of the 2 goals for the Wolves today as that bounced up in front right into the feet of Ellie Power, who will cover up for a whistle. With only 19.7 seconds left here in the third frame. Big game here for Ellie Power. This will be her 7th win of the campaign. Improving her record to 7-3. Has found a way to win games in this up and down campaign for the Cape Breton Lynx. Have a tendency of getting hot and then getting maybe a little cold. They had won 4 straight games before their most recent 4-game losing streak. But there is a late hit there. Elise Angioni took that from Pino, who came all the way from what seemed like the other side of the ice to initiate that collision. Pino goes to the box. The initial call from the referee is a body check. Only 8.5 seconds left on the game. I wouldn't say it's a very necessary play on the part of Pino. That late in the game, the puck had moved on by a couple seconds. It was a late hit, and that is the call on Pino, a body check. Charged against the Wolves. And the Lynx will get a very, very brief power play here. As the clock is about to wind down, the Lynx had lost their last 4 games, but here on the road in Evangeline and a wild day of travel, they come away with the win. They find a way to explode on offense. They score 5 times here against the Wolves. And the Cape Breton Lynx take the first of the weekend back-to-back here in Evangeline against the Western Wolves. The final score, 5-3. A big showing here from the Cape Breton Lynx. They get goals from 5 different players here this afternoon. Explode on offense. They have although they sit, they sit 6th place in the league, rather. I had mentioned they were sitting 5th place in the league. The 5th place spot actually belonged to the Eastern Stars, who are playing this afternoon in Antigonish against the Subway Selects. But the Cape Breton Lynx move within 3 points of that 5th place spot and sit comfortably in 6th, 5 points ahead of the Western Wolves. But the Wolves will look for revenge here bright and early tomorrow morning here at home at the Evangeline Recreation Center. In the second half of the weekend back-to-back here in Western PEI. Tomorrow's game will be the last of the calendar year for both the Lynx and the Western Wolves, as they will bring their 2025s to a close here tomorrow morning. You can catch that here on the High Button Sports puck drop at 10:30. We'll see you then. My name is Luke Diamond. It was a pleasure to be a part of the game for you here this evening. Have a good evening all, and we'll see you here tomorrow morning bright and early from Evangeline. Take care.